Hi, I'm so glad that you can come to my class. I'm teaching an athletic prevention class. And class, I wanted to introduce you to a life coach. His name is Mark. He has worked with Tony Robbins. He's done phenomenal things, and he is right here in Orlando. We're so lucky to have him online with us today. And I wanted to talk to you about a new technology that has come out that Tony Robbins has in his home, that we have right here in Orlando, thanks to you, that you've brought it to us. Could you tell me about your energy enhancement system and what is it, number one, and how does it work with athletes in, injury prevention or recovery time, and the power of the mind that goes with all of your system there?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, Colleen. It's a pleasure to be here. A little bit of background. I have been a life coach for over 2 decades and have coached people on health and wellness all over the world. And so I've seen a lot of things come and go. And this technology, EE System, and their website's eesystem.com, is actually not new. It's been used by NASA as far back as the late 90s. It's used by top government people, the military, and mostly wealthy individuals, because these units that you see around here, and I'll talk about what they are quite expensive. So it's for a lot of people, it's been off limits, or they didn't know about it. But we live in an age where really nobody has an excuse not to do research on their own health and wellness. A lot is available to them, either informationally or technologically, that wasn't available even 2 to 5 years ago. So some of the stuff now available is so cutting edge that it really allows the body to heal itself. So this system doesn't claim to fix, cure, or solve anything, but what we're finding is we live in a world where the air, the food, the water, and products are filled with toxins and filled with detrimental energy fields. So it'd be like you trying to talk to somebody long distance and somebody yelling in the background and somebody wiggling the wireless modem and creating all kind of interference. So we're bombarded with 5G, microwaves, radiation, ELF, EMF, building wiring. All these things are not suited for the human body. And
that's correct, and I agree with you.
Yeah, so these things, they don't look like they're going to change. I've heard China's working on 10G. If you can imagine how much more microwaving radiation power that is. So what do we do about it, right? So this technology, they brought in a $100,000 oscilloscope from the Pentagon, and they found that every negative detrimental energy field was nullified for 2.2 miles.
That's
so
incredible.
It doesn't mean that doesn't mean the cell phones don't work. Everything works just fine. But the quantum physics and the biophotonics, the highest levels of science involved with this, they know how to nullify. That technology nullifies all those fields. So what does that do to the body? It's like hiking up a mountain with a 100-pound backpack, and suddenly you take the backpack off, and now you can hike much freer,
That's a great analogy, because most people don't understand that, what we put in our body, either makes us sick or makes us healthy. Just like food science, how we eat. I try to have in my nutrition component that, drinking Coca-Cola, it's so detrimental to your health. And there's a lot more fractures with athletes that drink soda because it leaches all the calcium and the phosphorus from the bones. So when you talk about this environment, this EE system, how can we utilize it? First of all, tell us about what technologies are in there. How do we use it?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you see, I just watched a video with, and I will put it in the class as well, students, with Tony Robbins. He ripped his rotator cuff and
Mhm.
he talked about stem cell, which I'm going to introduce you to as well, students, but then he talked about the EE system and how the EE system had helped with cut recovery time. So if you could speak about that, Mark.
Yeah, so we can't make medical claims. This isn't a medical device. I'm not a doctor, but what we can say is users, top scientists, and independent peer-reviewed researchers are reporting these things. And some of the things they're reporting is increased oxygenation by 28%. Think what that does to the cells. The number one thing that cells need is oxygen. There's not even a close second, maybe water, but that's a distant second. So we can survive 3 days without water, but we can't survive 10 minutes without oxygen. So, you know, imagine 28% increase. Then you got food absorption and going into the cells, 28% better. My grocery bill's gone down 25% since opening the center.
That's incredible.
Because the food is going to where it's supposed to be. You have things like circulation and microcirculation. So if you talk about sports injury recovery, more oxygen, more nutrients, everything going to where the recovery is needed, that should help. I can't say it will because that would be medical advice, but it should help, right? And the same thing with brain stuff and you name it. It's all, the body knows what to do, but it's got to flow freely, and it's got to be unobstructed. So that's number one. But moreover, besides eliminating these detrimental fields, which is huge just all by itself, it's creating a hyper healthy energy field. It's the shape of a torus or a giant apple, so to speak. And that torus field is found throughout nature. And that being in that field does something to the body. The body just seems to come alive for being in it.
Is
So
it
also,
similar to grounding? I don't know if my students know what grounding is, but if you take your shoes off and you go out onto the earth
yeah.
barefoot, you're grounding, you're getting in touch with the earth's energy. So are you
But the
comparing it
thing
to
is,
that?
yeah, we don't do that anymore, Colleen. Not as a
Okay.
society. We don't go
No, I
play in the
agree.
fields anymore or farm.
I
Most people
agree.
are playing video games or inside of computers, or we don't have that grounding. I actually believe in grounding, and human resonance is included in the technology. That's one of many helpful frequencies that are added to the energy fields, and scalar energy is another big one. So yeah, so Schumann
Can you
resonance is the grounding.
can you explain the Schumann resonance for me and then the scalar energy for my students?
Um, I could, but I'm not a scientist. So I recommend doing your own research on our homepage, regenerationroom.org. You'll see a list of the frequencies. You'll see a link to Schumann resonance, so you can do a deeper dive on that. Basically, it helps our bodies, right? Because we're dealing with all these detrimental fields, and grounding takes us back to it's like resetting, right? So that's just one of many helpful things. Scalar is actually fifth dimensional, so it defies our three-dimensional laws of physics. It goes through concrete. It doesn't deplete. In fact, this medallion is infused with EE Systems technology at their center in Las Vegas. One location in the world makes these. And they've measured the scalar energy coming out of this after 10 years, and there's a 0% drop in the energy. And what these do is it puts a 5-foot dome of protection around us against radiation, 5G, ELF, EMF, all those fields. So I sleep with these. I do everything but play sports with them. So, these things are available. These are $100. Is it worth $100 to protect yourself from radiation? I think so. There's a lot of devices out there that protect against EMF, but that's just one thing. This protects against everything. So
That's
this
perfect.
technology.
most people don't understand that, like I said before, going back to the nutrition and what we put in our body, but environmentally, I've been in the healthcare field for 30 years and I've been teaching and I've been a wellness coach as well. And what I find is people don't realize the environmental detriments that are surrounding them in our water, in our air, in our cars, in front of the computers, um, and and with the cell phones by our ear and all that stuff. So when you say that it protects you from all these contaminants, um, and then because I believe, and it's been proven, that our bodies were designed to heal itself. And
Yes.
so, that's so important for us to understand, especially when we're working with athletes, anybody in general, really, because we want to be well. And so when we put our bodies in the perfect environment or a very good environment, like the EE system, or like a Tesla plasma machine, or like, an iTerra wand, or like your necklace, it creates our cells to vibrate at a better vibration, and then it helps the body to heal itself. Just like if I come up on the ambulance to a call, I'm getting data from that person. I'm looking at, we're all electrical. That's what an EKG is. That's what an EEG is.
Yeah.
So this your system there, Orlando has probably one of the biggest in the state, if I'm not if I'm the correct or not, I'm not sure. I think we're the only ones that have 36 here, 36 monitors. Is that correct?
There's one location that just upgraded their system. I've not been to it, but we are probably the second biggest this side of Texas.
Okay,
So
perfect.
yeah, but anything above 24 units is very, very good. They're all good because it's all the tech. This is the highest level of technology. So our cells are designed to operate at a millivoltage of 70 to 90 millivolts. And
Yes.
as we age, that millivoltage drops. This technology has been found to raise the cell energy back to the optimal level within an hour. So it's like recharging your cell phone. You can't go on your cell phone for years and years without recharging it. And our body in this environment needs to be recharged. Also, since you talked about nutrition and eating well, the information's out there about plant-based foods. We're not allowed to say bad things about meat. It's against the law, and I'm not going to. But I will say, why are the Tennessee Titans, the national football team, going almost entirely plant-based?
And so,
These are
and
some of the
my students have actually, I'm making them watch Game Changers, because when you go plant-based, there is a major difference, right?
well, yeah, and we could go on for that for 3 hours, but
Mhm.
the information is there. There's no excuses anymore. It's like when I discovered that plant-based gives better flow of oxygen and recovery, it's like game over. You need leverage to make a change in life. Just hearing something may not be it. But when you find that one thing that's like, I'm not doing that anymore, that's a game changer. That's a point of changing what we do and why we do it. It's got to have meaning behind it. So
Right. And
what?
so,
Yeah. So why are some of the biggest, strongest, fastest, most expensive athletes in the world going plant-based? Do your own research. There's no excuses.
right. And so, besides feeding your body the right and correct nutrition that optimizes our health, we have seen, I mean, I've read a lot of testimonies. I've come in and I've tried. I have a Tesla plasma machine. It's different from this EE system. I've seen miracles with all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what you have seen with your EE systems, with what people are saying, that they see the changes in their body. And like I said, I looked at Tony Robbins, and he was talking about he tore his whole rotator cuff, and he used this EE system.
Right.
Could you
So,
go into that?
sure. And since you mentioned other technologies, many of those things are very helpful. This technology includes a lot of them and so much more. So it's like it has many of the benefits that you're talking about, but it it's combining the quantum physics and the biophotonics. So for instance, if you ask anybody over the age of 30, are you sleeping a full night's sleep? You'd be hard pressed to find somebody that says yes. And why is that? It's because radiation is everywhere. We're bombarded with it. One of the number one signs of radiation poisoning is sleep deprivation, lack of sleeping through the night. So, you know, we don't tend to notice these things that are kind of dripping on us day after day after day. Then we wake up 10, 20 years later, and then our bodies don't feel so good, right?
Right, because
So,
sleep is that's where we recover. And if we're not getting enough sleep, we're not recovering from
yeah, and the,
injuries or just from the day.
right, right. So, you know, and you think, well, move out to the country and get away from radiation. Worst radiation in America, last I looked, was Billings, Montana.
Wow.
Go figure. It's everywhere, right?
Yes.
So we got to do something about it. And hopefully your generation that you're teaching will be the impetus to really, you know, take things to the next level, because at our current course, it's unsustainable. It is
I agree
literally
with you.
unsustainable.
I agree with
So,
you. And so this
yeah.
is the reason why we're here today, students, is because I would like to have you have a whole toolbox that you can tap into. If you know, when you go into whatever field that you're going into healthcare or wellness or physical therapy or athletic training, that you know that there are other modalities out there. You know that there's an EE system. You know that there's Tesla plasma. You know that there's an iTerracare wand. You know that there's an ultraviolet ray. But today we're talking about this EE system.
Yeah.
And we
So,
talked about the scalar energy. And I
right.
also, Mark, I've also read, if I remember correctly, that it triples or quadruples the mitochondria.
140%. So
140%.
140%. So the mitochondria is related to the ATP, which is really the root of our energy. So if somebody has a lot of energy, they have healthy mitochondria. So this increases the mitochondria by 100, or activity by 140%. So back to the testimonies. So we've seen miracles here. You have to wonder, this has been around more than 22 years, and why are we just hearing about it now? It's because wealthy people have had these in their homes, right? These are very expensive. 4 units is around $30,000, and we have 36 units here. So and don't quote me on those prices, because I don't determine the prices. The E-System does, and they could change at any time based on demand. But, you know, there's a doctor here in Florida with 40 of these units in his home, not all in one room. He was over 80 years old. He had sports injuries, could barely walk, hobbling around. All of his sports injuries disappeared. He became strong and healthy. His gray hair disappeared. His original hair color grew back, and I'll talk about why that might have happened. And he started playing tennis against 50-year-olds and beating them.
That's incredible.
That's a little different than some of the technologies you're talking about, and I'm not dissing them.
No, no.
They're very helpful, but they don't do this, right?
Right. And that's why
So,
I wanted to bring in the mitochondria, because the mitochondria are the powerhouse cells in our body. So
right.
to increase them 140%, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's
And
not 4% or 2% or 0.4%. It's life changing, life changing. So yeah, I had severe arthritis from a knee injury from basketball for decades, and I still played sports, and would be in pain going upstairs, and just kind of put up with it. Completely disappeared. Now I'm playing tennis against a 30-year-old tennis pro. So this is what's possible. We can't promise this will happen to you, but we had a woman with a clenched hand. She was in here 12 minutes and went like this. First time she opened her hand in many, many years. Everyone started clapping. We had another woman who was only using a third of her lungs, and that was medically documented, and she'd been through all kinds of treatments. Now she's going back to the doctor in September. That's as soon as she can get an appointment to document that she thinks she's been completely healed and now can breathe deeply. We've had people have brain fog from what, and that brain fog has disappeared. We have people with eye floaters. The one woman said, "Hey, my eye floaters disappeared after an hour in there." And the other one said, "So did mine." So, there's no limit to what the body can do when it's unburdened and in a hyper healthy energy field.
How exciting to see those miracles every day, because I've been in healthcare for 30 years.
Mm.
And when I started this journey with alternative modalities and frequencies, I was blown away. I've seen people with the Tesla plasma machine, which doesn't, it doesn't have as many technologies as yours,
And
but
ours
I've seen,
includes Tesla, by the way. This
yeah,
includes that. Yes.
yes, but yours has many more, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I've seen people get up from wheelchairs that had Parkinson's, and they got up and they were running. So the reason why I wanted to bring this to my students is to let them know that we have been taught, I've been taught, like I said, I've been in medicine for 30 years now, and I've been taught, basically pharmaceuticals and surgery are the only two modalities that will work. So what I wanted to try to do with my students is get them to see that there are many other things out there that gets the body in the right environment for the body to do what it's supposed to do: regenerate and heal, regenerate and heal, regenerate and heal. We know that the skin heals, and I don't remember all those, like 7 days or whatever, all the cells. So what does your sessions,
What do
how
they
does it,
look like?
yeah, what do
Yeah.
they look like, and how would they go about it if they decided, okay, I'm a practitioner now, or I have some issues myself, and
Hmm.
I want to come myself for my
Well,
health.
well,
So
it's interesting because we have hundreds of members. We opened June 15th, and a lot of people were waiting for us to open. So we've done well, and yet the tiniest percentage of the Orlando, Central Florida population has even heard of this. And almost the only people coming to us are people doing their own research.
yes,
Right.
and that's important.
The other people just go the traditional healthcare route. But you have to ask yourself, are their needs really getting met? Are their needs really getting met? Is surgery really the best option? I can't say because I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you personally, I would never want surgery if I could avoid it, right? Like what else is out there that can help me recover besides surgery? That would be like the last of the last. That's me personally.
And there's a big school of thought. There's two different schools of thought. There's two, like one like ours. I agree with you. That would be the last thing. I had a personal thing happen in my life where I was in a wheelchair. I got in a really bad car crash, and
Hmm.
they wanted to do surgery, and I said, well, what is the likelihood of me being back on the fire truck, or me getting back 50-50? And I said, you know what, I'll keep your 50-50. because I'm in a
Yeah.
wheelchair now. So 50-50 is zero probability that I'm going to get out, you know?
Wow.
So I said, well, I'll do this myself, you know?
Yeah.
So that started my journey. I started with magnetics. I started with, you know, far infrared and those kind of things.
Hmm.
And then it progressed into Tesla. And I was one of the ones who was chomping at the bit to hear that you guys were here. And, you know, and I've sent several people over there because I know what this system can do. So what does it entail? How do you
Okay.
go about, you know, coming to you? You're
Yeah.
right here in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then
We're near the Mall of Millennia. It's really easy to get to. The other side of I-4, it's super easy access. It's by appointment. We're open 10 to 6, 6 days a week, closed Mondays. There are no practitioners, nothing touches the body. People literally sit in these recliners and most of them fall asleep. And that's when some of the best recovery and regeneration happens, is when we're dozing off. We do have overnights. We pull out beds, real beds, and people sleep here. So most people start off with a 2-hour session. That's what the inventor, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, recommends to have the body adjust to the energy. And then from there, it's listen to the body. People do from 1 to 4-hour sessions or overnights, or, you know, a lot of our members are coming 2 hours a week. The sessions are $60. Everything's on our website, regeneration.org. We're not a company, a corporation, LLC, or anything else. We're a private membership. So we make our own rules, and we want the members to respect each other. So that's part of why that we have a membership. $20 fee for a lifetime. Students, it's only $10. But students, you may think, oh, I'm healthy, I don't need this. But who do you know? A cousin, a sibling, a parent, a grandmother that could use this technology. So, you know, if you bring somebody by or have them come by, for every 3 people, you get a free session. You know, we try to take care of the veterans. We give a discount to first responders. We have all kinds of things going here, but basically, I was in the doctor for 12 minutes a few years ago. It was $440. And so my massage is $90. We think $60 an hour is a reasonable price. So, and we do have some packages, 8 sessions for the price of 6 and things like that. So, you know, it's all here. You basically, there's a cumulative effect. So higher levels of function happen with the body as you know, do session after session. What else?
Could you go back, and you mentioned Dr. Sandra Rose Michaels. Could you speak about her and tell us about Sandra Rose Michael?
Yeah, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, I consider her a genius. Some people are calling her the modern day Tesla. She is a Mensa, a very high IQ. Her parents both worked on secret projects for the government, including the BOMB. And she grew up at an early age doing science experiments instead of watching TV. And so she worked on this technology for many years and helped heal a lot of people with it. And then, you know, NASA found out about it. And so now there's so many documented tests and reports and validation that this science really, really works, because not only does it recharge the cells, but it's repairing the DNA. And so, and lengthening the telomeres. So your students might want to know what a telomere is. It's the end parts of the strands of the DNA. When those are lengthened, that seems to indicate longer life. So the geneticists are saying this technology may not only be anti-aging, but could be age reversal. And that's why I brought up that 80-year-old that lost all his gray hair and grew his original hair color back and started kicking butt on 50-year-old tennis players. So, you know, why is NASA using it? You know, why have millionaires and billionaires been using it? So it's available. And now with these centers, it's available for reasonable prices.
Yeah, so I was going to get into that because I think there's over 250 centers that have opened over the United States. Is that correct?
I don't know that exact number. I heard close to 300 worldwide, so I'd have to
Okay.
check on the US. But there are some that are coming soon. Some are waiting for their units. Yeah, so the model of funding a center and making the sessions available for the masses at reasonable prices is the intention, because we have a sick humanity. And you know,
Yes,
people aren't excelling in their finances and relationship and spiritual pathway and all the stuff they love to do because their bodies are holding them back. So, and then there's the whole mind, right? We've had people go through emotional stuff here and resolve some things and
that's
fears.
fantastic. The
And,
fear is a
and they
very
they've
big,
even they literally documented head trauma coming out of somebody with an accugraph.
wow.
So and
So,
they've had, and one more thing,
okay.
in genes, there's this thing called epigenomes, and
Mhm.
epigenomes are a switch in the DNA. So it's not just what the DNA's propensity is; it's what the epigenome is flipping on or off. And they have seen documented that the epigenomes flip from trauma to regenerative.
That's incredible.
Imagine that.
That's
Imagine that.
incredible.
We can't say that will happen for you, but you know, as a former stock market researcher and trader of 35 years, I can tell you if a drug company did that, it would be a multi-hundred-billion-dollar drug company.
So,
So,
there's two questions you just kind of sparked in my brain. Um, Having been in medicine for 30 years and you know, on the ambulance and all those things and teaching at the college and stuff. Um, you know, I get people that because I have my own clientele outside as well, you know, for wellness, right? And you know, I have people coming to me and they're like, Colleen, could you please help me get off my meds? And I'm like, okay, well, let me see. You know, so I have people with 5, 10 pages of medications, and I'm like,
wow.
this is going to be a lot of research. Most people that we pick up, you know, or go to a call on, they're on at least 2 to 3 pages of meds. So, but you talked about releasing trauma. I'm going to go a little different route. What Our mind and our body is extremely connected. So is our soul and our spirit and all those things. However, we have an uptick of concentration and focus issues and ADD and ADHD and all those things
And brain fog. Mm-hmm.
and brain fog. Yes. So and not being able to critically think and those kind of things. Have you had many people come in that have had all of those issues that I've just talked about that could help any of those issues?
Well, we've had several report that their brain fog disappeared or the condition improved. We've had people less afraid and less anxious, more grounded, more relaxed, more energized, um, happier. That's something we hear a lot about. Uh, People come out in joy, you know, which shouldn't that be our like foundational root
Absolutely.
essence? we
Absolutely.
you know, and it's not for most people. And then yeah, so we've had a lot of reports on, you know, kind of brain mental stuff and emotional stuff, but yeah, so we don't claim that this is an end all, right? I believe it's a boost because I believe we are profound beings of light capable of anything, and the freedom has felt restricted in a lot of ways from a lot of different angles, but this is a boost, right? Why not get our energy back, our vitality back, our sense of peace back, and then we're able to do things. We got some serious things to solve on this earth, and we're not going to do it with a sick population.
No, I agree with you. And you know, I mean, I've seen how sick our America, you can go look it up. We spend most of our gross domestic product on healthcare, and we're the sickest in the world. You know, I've done lots of research on that because it bothers me. I would like to have everybody in health and wellness and be able to function. And I've been an athlete and I've coached most of my younger life. My daughter was 16th in the country.
Wow.
Gymnastics, you know, she's retired now, but how many athletes do you have coming in, and what do you see with athletes?
Well, it's funny because a rock solid kickboxer just left here right before this interview. Just walked
Great.
out. In fact, I was letting him out as I was coming in.
And I
So,
probably know who he is actually, because
oh, really?
yeah, I probably do. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so tell me, you know, I think personally, because I've been around these energies and you have been around your systems even more. I've seen, like I said, miracles and miracles and miracles. Tell me what you foresee for the future of athletics and healing and training, you know, people with injuries, but then for the future of wellness for our
Well,
country.
personally, I think this is the future of medicine. I
Absolutely, I
really do
agree.
because you know it. For one thing, and I'm not criticizing healthcare. I wouldn't do that because I value my life for one thing. So it's not one-on-one. You know, we can fill a room of 16 people. There's a center in Michigan. I think they probably get 50 in there. So it's everybody gets equal benefit, and the more the merrier. So it's not one-on-one. So that's a huge difference. Number two, it's going to the root, the cellular structure and the DNA structure, getting them healthy and vital and unburdened, and then the body does its thing. So that type of science is a lot more encouraging to me than I don't want to say crapshoot because that would get me into trouble. But once you start lining up the bell curves on pages of drugs, can they really say what one drug will do based on the interaction with pages of other drugs when you got the tail of the bell curve on each of those, which they admit they don't know on the tails. So being a kind of a math guy, I'm like, that's a total long shot, right?
Well,
So
we can see that, Mark. We can see that in Dope Sick and Painkiller. You know, those are two documentaries that have recently just came out about the opioid crisis and about, you know, that no one was getting addicted. And unfortunately, that wasn't correct, right? So
yeah, by a long shot. That wasn't even in the right universe. But go
no,
ahead.
so we can see, now not everybody can see, right? But we can see, and that's two other movies that my students watch because I want them to realize, okay, what pharmaceuticals could have possibly damaged people, right? And
Yeah, I
that
won't go there, Colleen. I'm gonna have to stop
no,
you there because
no, it's okay.
I'm
It's
feeling
a,
in danger talking about big
oh,
pharma.
no, it's
I
okay.
won't do it.
But
Yeah.
but we can see. So what I wanted to do was to just I wanted to just show the students what else is out there. And I thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for if you could just show the units and what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's very good. So the monitor looking things are actually coded to align with our DNA, and they send out signals that are paired up with other monitors across the room, and then those monitors crash, the signals crash in the middle of the room and create an implosion. So it's actually quantum physics and biophotonics. So that implosion fills the room with photons. They get absorbed into the skin and help, according to the geneticist, not me, repair our DNA. So, and also lengthen the telomeres. The black boxes underneath the monitors, they are the field generating devices that send out a combination of fields 2.2 miles from the center and benefit everyone around here so they don't have to face the detrimental fields. Those list of frequencies are on our homepage, regenerationroom.org. And also if you want to do your own deep dive on YouTube and all that. So that's what's going on here. Come experience the possibilities, and we do give discounts to students, but moreover, students, you know people, I know you do, and if their needs aren't getting met, show them what we got. You know, show your love, show your concern. The information's available.
Will you give your website one more time and let us know where you are one more time?
Sure. So website is regenerationroom.org. And then it's got a whole list of tabs there you can play around on and see what info is there. Our phone number is 407-750-2936. And then we're located at 4401 Vineland Road, Suite A4. Real near the Mall of Millennia, and 32811 is the zip code. So thank you for having me, Colleen. You've been awesome.
Well, thank you so much. We are so grateful, and I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that you're here in Orlando. Thank you for bringing healing and restoration to people, and in a time where it's very, very needed. And we'll see you soon. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Colleen.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
the best. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.